News every 15 minutes, weather every 10, and sports twice an hour.
Newstalk, KGVO, AM 1290 and now 101.5 FM.
You're listening to Montana Morning with Peter Christian.
Two men charged with sexually assaulting one woman. Good morning, everyone. This is Montana Morning. It's Friday, November 7th, 2014. You made it. Here it is, cloudy, and it's genuinely mild out there. It's 46 degrees, almost shirt sleeve weather in Missoula right now, but that is going to change by the time we get done with the weekend. We'll share that with you a little bit later on in our newscast. Our newscast this morning is sponsored by Temprite Service. For all of your plumbing and heating needs, you will be needing your furnace, let's put it that way, next week. Call Team Blue, 728-1111. Two Missoula men were charged in justice court yesterday with raping an intoxicated woman on November 2nd. According to court documents, 34-year-old Michael Wickwire and 35-year-old Eric Larson allegedly committed the offense of sexual intercourse without consent. Wickwire reportedly took the victim and his daughter to a local liquor store to purchase a bottle of Everclear. When they returned, the woman became highly intoxicated, at which time Wickwire allegedly assaulted her. Following that incident, court documents indicate that Eric Larson then sexually assaulted the woman. Deputy Missoula County Attorney Jordan Kilby first asked Judge Karen Orzek for a high bail for Eric Larson.
Your Honor, I'm asking that the court set bail in the amount of $100,000 given the seriousness of this offense. I'd ask that he have no contact with his co-defendant, Michael Wickwire, any of the witnesses in the case, or the victim judge.
Then moments later asked for the same for Michael Wickwire.
Your Honor, I'd also ask that you set this bail amount at $100,000 given the seriousness of the offense. I'd ask that he not have contact with Eric Larson, the victim in this case, or any of the witnesses. Those witnesses include his two children, Judge.
Orzek agreed. Both were placed back in the jail on $100,000 bond. The next court appearances will be November 20th. Staying at justice court, 38-year-old Jeremy Clyde appeared via video from the jail yesterday. He's been charged with beating and kicking his uncle, a severely disabled man who was under his care. Clyde was charged with abuse of an older person or a person with developmental disabilities, a felony. Deputy Missoula County Attorney Susie Boylan asked Judge Karen Orzek for $20,000 bail.
Given the seriousness of the offense and the fact that the victim was a vulnerable person, we'd ask that bail be set in the amount of $20,000. We would ask that the standard conditions be imposed. We would ask that a no-contact order be imposed with regards to the victim and to any witnesses, and that the defendant be restrained from the victim's residence.
Court records say Clyde admitted hitting and kicking his uncle. Judge Karen Orzek did provide $10,000 bail, or set $10,000 bail. The maximum sentence is up to 10 years in prison. And Clyde's next court appearance will be again on November 20th. The retired Navy SEAL who says he shot Osama bin Laden is being hailed as a hero at his hometown of Butte. Robert O'Neill told the Washington Post he fired the shots that killed bin Laden, a story he first recounted in February to Esquire magazine, which identified him only as the shooter. One current and one former SEAL confirmed to the Associated Press that O'Neill was long known to have fired the fatal shots at the al-Qaeda leader. O'Neill hails from Butte, where he graduated from high school in 1994 and then joined the Navy the following year. A North Dakota man who was shot by a Montana police officer is recovering at a Billings hospital, and the officer's on administrative leave while the shooting is being investigated. The Billings Gazette reports 59-year-old Michael Frederick Smith of Bismarck, North Dakota, was listed in fair condition at St. Vincent Healthcare on Wednesday. Richland County Sheriff Brad Beisch says Smith was shot shortly after 12:30 a.m. on Halloween by Sydney police officer Vincent Horton, when responded to a report that a sport utility vehicle was parked in the northbound traffic lane of Highway 16 with its lights off. As Horton waited for a Montana Highway Patrol officer to arrive, Smith got out of the vehicle or ignored commands to show his hands and pulled a gun on the officer. Beisch says Smith was shot in both arms. Missoula police continue to investigate after a Department of Corrections inmate fell from the second-floor railing at the Missoula County Jail and struck his head on the cement floor, causing fatal injuries. We spoke with police spokeswoman Paige Pavalone. She said the man fell at about 9:15 Monday night and then died Tuesday in the intensive care unit at St. Patrick Hospital. His name has not yet been released. Pavalone says police investigators are trying to determine the cause of the fall. A coroner's inquest will be scheduled because the man died while he was in law enforcement custody. Across the country, the outcome of the most political races is old news now, but here in Missoula County, 2 races are still up in the air. It could be determined by the results of provisional ballots. Missoula Elections Administrator Rebecca Connors explains.
Provisional ballot essentially allows someone to cast a ballot, but only ensures one ballot is counted. So, for instance, if you send your absentee ballot on Monday before the election and you realize it might not make it to our office, you can go to your polling place or here at the fairgrounds and receive a replacement ballot, but it would be provisional since there's already a ballot out there.
There are over 1,200 provisional ballots at the election center, but they can't be counted yet.
Statute requires that we not inspect the ballot before 3 p.m. on Monday, next Monday, so that's when we're allowed to open the ballots up and actually count them. So right now, we are just doing whether we can accept it or reject it at this point.
In a related story, the right now Senate District 49 race between Democrat Dianne Sands and Republican Dick Haynes has been flagged by the Secretary of State as possibly in need of a recount. Haynes is currently losing by 7 votes, but seems to be thrilled that things are as close as they are.
I kind of get a kick out of it. I just didn't do much conventional campaigning, where my opposition was to campaign to beat the band. I kind of think that's kind of neat. I'm kind of chuckling about it. That win or lose, I'm enjoying that part of it, that I just didn't have the time. I didn't have the energy, and I didn't feel good enough to go out and campaign like I have in the past, and yet I came this close to winning.
Right now, candidates are waiting for all the provisional ballots to be counted. If there is a recount, there are 2 possible outcomes. One in which the county would pay for the recount, and one in which the candidate with the least votes would pay. Haynes says he has not decided if he would pay for a recount or not.
I don't know. I'm not there yet. Probably be sometime Friday or Friday evening. Then I will be able to find out whether the provisional ballots close the gap for me or widen it, or if it does anything. I may not have any provisional ballots that apply to my rate. I won't know until they've sorted them all out.
The total cost of a recount, about $400 to $500. Finally, a new report says revenue at U.S. casinos jumped more than 6% in 2012, the first significant increase in 3 years, as economic growth picked up speed and more casinos opened. Total gambling revenue in this country in 2012, $94.47 billion. Tribal casinos generated $28.14 billion. Casino revenue grew by a fraction of 1% in 2010, then fell in 2009. Newstalk time is 6:10.
Newstalk, KGVO.
Missoula's official weather station.
Partly cloudy skies today with our high temperatures warming into the low 50s. A wind will be out of the west at 5 to 15 miles per hour. Partly cloudy overnight with our lows right around the freezing mark. I'm meteorologist Brooke Foster for KECI 13, your first alert station.